Gentleman from Colorado.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise in opposition to the motion to instruct and yield myself such time as I may consume.
Gentleman is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, the motion to instruct would require the House to recede to the Senate amendments to H.R. 3230. As Chairman Miller has stated during debate on nearly identical motions to instruct last week and again last night, the foremost goal of the House and Senate Conference Committee, the foremost goals are: 1, to improve timely access to high-quality health care for veterans who've been waiting for weeks, months, or even years; and 2, to improve the accountability and overall operations of the Department of Veterans Affairs healthcare system. This was the central charge to the conferees at the beginning of the conference and remains so today. I have no doubt that my colleague from California, Congresswoman Brownley, the ranking member of the Subcommittee on Health, shares these goals. However, this motion does not further our pursuit of them. Tonight, our attention is best spent on devoted to finding a true compromise, one that best serves our nation's veterans and taxpayers and lays the foundation for correcting the departmental deficiencies that have brought us here, and not tying the conference committee's hands with an unnecessary, unhelpful, unbinding, and time-consuming motion to instruct. As the gentlelady knows, because she was in the Veterans Affairs Committee hearing with the acting VA Secretary, this morning Chairman Miller offered a proposal that would largely agree with nearly everything in the Senate bill, with a few minor exceptions. Chairman Miller's proposal would accept Title VII of the original Senate bill, with amended language to include all 27 leases authorized by the House last December in H.R. 3521, rather than the 26 that the Senate approved, provide VA with $102 million for fiscal year 2014 to address the department's internal funding shortfalls, provide $10 billion of no-year mandatory emergency funding to cover the cost of the Senate's choice provisions, with the remaining Senate provisions subject to appropriations. So I am supportive of Chairman Miller's proposal because it is a fair, common-sense approach that ensures Congress is able to continue its oversight to ensure that taxpayer funds are spent wisely. As we all know, recently Senator Sanders, chairman of the Senate Veterans Affairs Committee and co-chair of the Conference Committee, has indicated his desire to expand the scope of the conference to include VA's recent request for an additional $17.6 billion. We call that an airdrop. Unfortunately, there is virtually no parachute in the form of detailed justification for this request. And to a great extent, Congress's acceptance of unsubstantiated funding requests in the past have helped get us to where we are today. This summer, the House Veterans Affairs Committee has held multiple full committee oversight hearings to discuss the access and accountability failures VA has been subjecting our veterans to. These hearings have confirmed that the problems VA is facing today require long-term and large-scale reform. Adding more money, more people, and more infrastructure to a system that it has not proven itself able to make effective use of its existing resources that it has been provided without first implementing underlying reforms does not serve our veterans well and will not prevent them from continuing to face unacceptably long patient waiting times. It has been proven time and time again by the VA Inspector General, the Government Accountability Office, the administration, and others that VA has been suffering from widespread data manipulation and a systemic lack of integrity. Given that, what confidence do we have that the $17.6 billion resource request that VA is now making is based on data that is valid or reliable, particularly given that the committee has received very little analysis, justification, or verification of these numbers? Before Congress can contemplate devoting such a significant amount of taxpayer money, it is imperative that VA provide a full accounting of each additional dollar that is being requested. The resource request the Department has put forward so far is not the well-thought-out and thoroughly justifiable position that our nation's veterans and our taxpayers deserve. Rather, it is an unsubstantiated guess put together in the back room of a massive bureaucracy. Mr. Speaker, I truly believe we could have already come to an agreement if Senator Sanders would not have insisted on moving the goalposts so dramatically. The House has passed almost a dozen bills reforming the VA that have waited months for Senate consideration. The Senate could pass those bills and send them to the President to become law today. I would remind Ms. Brownlee that one such bill, H.R. 2527, would extend VA's military sexual trauma counseling, along with care and treatment programs for veterans for sexual trauma that occurred during active duty or active duty for training, to veterans who experienced such trauma during inactive duty training. Mr. Speaker, we are continually trying to work out a deal with the Senate, but I would submit to this body these motions to instruct are unproductive, are slowing down the conference process, and unfortunately have become nothing more than a political ploy to distract from the true issues facing our veterans and the conference committee. So with that, Mr. Speaker, I urge my colleagues to vote no on the motion to instruct, and I reserve the balance of my time.
Gentleman's time is